Welcome to the George Lynch Hunting Podcast, brought to you by Legendary Gear, the game called company that is legend by design. Well, folks, I'm totally excited this week where we got my good friend Pete Crawford of Stand Releases. Pete, it's an honor to have you on, my friend, and I appreciate in your busy schedule taking the time to speak to us and talk a little bit about archery.
Hey, I always love to talk about archery, George.
Well, you know what? You and I first came together, met when the outdoor group had purchased Lynch Mob Calls and came on board. And I get there was just a short period that that I got to meet you and some of the other guys, and I was so impressed with the quality. And of course, I was impressed with the Elite bows at the time and the quality of every product, and at the attitude that they used to have at that time. But you had wandered off. You had led the outdoor group. You kind of created this company and of the Elite bows and stuff, and then moved on and had some other ventures. And can you tell me how you ended up with Stand Releases?
Well, when I left the outdoor group, I had a non-compete, which is normal. And we did so many different archery products. I was pretty much blocked out of archery for a little while there. When I left, I started a consulting company, which I really enjoy. It's called Clear Track Consulting. I help entrepreneurs sell their businesses, not get taken advantage by private equity or bankers or lawyers, because I speak farmer. So I started doing that.
Yep.
And I really doing that. I still do that to this day. But so from that consulting place, I called up Eric Springer. I'm from Western New York. They're in Western New York. They're only about an hour away. We were friendly competitors when we had Scott, and that was Stanislawski Copper John at the time. So I called up Eric and I said, hey, I think I could really help you, help your sales, help get the message about, 100% made in America quality. They really always had the best feeling target releases in the world. And I'm like, I really think I can help you. And he goes, well, funny thing is, we're kind of looking, my brother, Doug, would like to go try something else and would like to be bought out. So it went from a cold call, kind of, even though I'd known Eric forever, to say, hey, I think I can help you, to, do you want to buy half the company? So that's what I ended up doing. And I get to work with my son again, Travis really well.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's kind of that family atmosphere in a much more scaled down version. And then the other cool thing with Dan was that they were really just primarily a target release company. And it gave me another opportunity. I always hunt. I've always hunted. I don't hunt because of television, or I do it because I love it. And it gave me an opportunity to, promote hunting, archery hunting, and put a line of archery hunting releases in and grow that too. So it's been a lot of fun. It's been 2 years and we're really, really growing quickly now.
I haven't, I never much was of a hand release guy. I shot traditional for a long time, and I still shoot it a little bit. I enjoy it. But when I in the compounds, basically I was using an index finger release. And with the outdoor group, I kind of tried an experiment, moved over to the hand release with a thumb. I never could get the back tension thing, especially for hunting, for
Yeah.
me to focus on. But I definitely loved the handheld thumb release and started using that. And then Travis, you guys sent me my first, right there, my thumb release
Yeah.
that I use. And I'm telling you what, and I have the index from you guys, which I truly love. But I'll
Right.
tell you what, once I've got onto this right here, and I use it for hunting, I mean, I have control. I seem to hold steadier. I have control of the shot, and I feel like I have more control of the shot, and then focus more on pulling through in the back tension. And it's changed I would say it's improved my hunting, but what it's really done is improved my shot, finishing the shot on bow hunting, being able to take more control, because whether it's a big buck or you're shooting a tom turkey or whatever, the excitement of always trying, with an index finger you could have the tendency to kind of punch the shot and rush it. And this right here has helped me so much to learn to control, and I notice that the most when under pressure, on taking on an animal shot. So I was going through your site, and real quick, I'm going to mention one of the things I love that you do. You got this little pin that comes, it's a lock pin. That was so genius. I mean, when I set up, I'm shooting prime bows now, but when we were setting up the bows, it was so nice to be able to pull that back. And now I have kind of bumped those when I first was
Oh,
getting
yeah.
into it,
Yep.
and the arrow kind of soaring over the target.
Right.
But that was really cool. But I was okay. I was noticed on your website, you got like, I think it's 5 different categories and types of releases. So
Mm.
for our consumers or our customers out there, our audience, if you could just kind of go through, I see the axis, the index, the thumb, the resistance, and the hinge.
Yep.
And I would really like to start. What I know what the thumb is, it's pretty explanatory. What is the resistant?
Well, I can just kind of take you through them and what the thought process was in getting this whole new line called the OnneX line. We wanted to make a thumb, which is obviously our most popular. Everybody knows what a thumb is pretty much. A resistance and a hinge with the exact same handle. And not only do they have this, and not only do they have the same handle, but most people, the vast majority, will shoot an arrow to the exact same spot, even if they switch between the releases. And there is some benefit to switching. So the thumb, we went through, we took the best things of all the releases that Stan had made over the years and put it all in this OnneX line. And then we coated we have proprietary steel for the sears. And then we put diamond-like coating on all the sears. The best rifle triggers in the world have this coating. So that's standard across everything we make, is this diamond-like coating. So we got the thumb, the resistance. I think we make the best, most repeatable resistance. And what's cool about a resistance is you don't have to really think about anything but aiming. You don't actuate a trigger. You don't bend your hand back or roll your hand. You just get on, you let off the safety and just start pulling. And when the bow reaches, I'll just throw a number out, like 15 pounds of pressure, it just fires. It's basically close to impossible to punch it. You have to just pull through. So it's an awesome companion to your thumb button. And I'll send you one, George, and we'll talk to you about it, how to do it. But that gets you pulling. That gets you pulling through the shot, because that's where people struggle. I mean, everybody seems to have some form of, of target panic, even if they manage it. There's a little bit of it in everybody. And the resistance is a really great tool to you're just aiming and pulling. You're not doing anything.
Yeah, I agree with that, because I would believe that whether it's target panic or sometimes what I call is anticipating, you start getting to where you're trying, your mind you think is controlling, but deep in the back, you're still anticipating that shot. And what's really unique is that I shot fingers with a compound, I shot compound instinctive fingers, I shot with trigger, I shot instinctive with a recurve, and then even with the traditional bow, the best follow through and shooting is pulling through that shot. That's why Fred Barry was one of my heroes, the inventor. He had the little clicker that you would pull back on a recurve, and then when you got to a certain spot, you kept pulling to that click, and then it set the mechanism in your head, but it forced you to pull through that shot. So even in traditional, it is a form that you have to use, in no matter what type of your style of shooting is. And I agree with that. Well, even with me, even with the thumb, and I'll have to tell you this is the smoothest trigger. Once I started shooting this and didn't really realize, you don't really realize, you first get it, you go, wow, that's nice. Then you keep shooting it. Then you kind of go back, you're looking through your archery case and you see some of the old releases, and I'm just going to pull that, and you pull it back, and it's like, man, is this thing going to go off? And it feels rude or crude or rough. I don't want to cut it down, but this is definitely, it's like riding a Cadillac, compared to little Honda, so
Well,
no, kudos to that.
And we talked a little bit earlier about manufacturing. We make all this stuff ourselves in Auburn, New York. So we have control over the quality. There's a ton of precision machines. We have 7 precision machines right now. Some of them are running 24 hours a day. So we've really gotten control of the whole process. Obviously, we have to send it out to get the diamond coating, but other than that, we control the process. So one of the other releases, George, we make, and we just came out with it like in January, is this axis. So the axis is the best tool, the best gateway drug to getting to a thumb button. If you're an index finger guy, it
Yeah.
cocks and fires with the thumb button. And because of that, it's very positive. It's very easy to use. We could put a wrist strap on it. So one of the things that people have is anxiety of dropping the release, letting go of it, or even with the wrist strap, it can help you draw a little bit more weight. So you feel
Right.
more confident. You can keep your hand, if you want, completely off the release. So you don't have to worry about
Wow.
bumping the trigger and then put your hand on it. Yeah, we got some really cool videos coming out about that. And probably in the next week or so. But it's an awesome release, because one of the things you mentioned, the reason why thumb buttons are inherently, people feel more accurate, not only are the trigger mechanisms cleaner and crisper, but you got your hand planted against your face. It's a way more solid anchor than when you have a wrist strap release. You can't anchor that well without using it.
Yeah.
So this Axis has been super well received. And it's a hunting release. It doesn't, like the release you have there, it's nice because it clips on the string or on your loop.
Yep.
And it'll hang. This one has an open loop. So as you know, a lot of people elk hunt, they spot and stalk. Right. This one, you can just take it off the loop, get to your binoculars, your rangefinder, get right back on the loop, and have all the benefits of a thumb button. It's not as,
sounds like,
yeah, it's a really cool one. It's not as adjustable as what you've got there. It doesn't have, it's not like the full on Cadillac OnneX where you can adjust all kinds of things, but you can adjust trigger pressure and trigger travel. And those are the two main things.
Yeah, perfect hunting release.
Yeah,
I like that for the guy. That's actually a good, like you said, a gateway release to the guy who's, shot fingers and he's wanting to get to release, or he's, gone from an index and wanting to move over to a handheld. I could see that is great. So what is the hinge?
So the hinge is ours is a little different because we have what's called a draw control in it. People are very afraid to draw a hinge because there's no real indication of when it's going to go off. So, people joke about punching themselves in the face, which they can do, but ours has a draw control. So you can draw it all the way back, let off the draw control, and then pull through like you're supposed to with a hinge. And then because of the way it's a little technical, but the way our moon, it hits like the top of a threaded screw, and as soon as it touches it, it fires. So there's no load up. So you can't anticipate the shot. So, and we sell that comes with a clicker and with the smooth, it comes with a clicker in it. So going to that clicker, like Fred Bear, you get to the click on the hinge and then you really bear down and pull through that last little bit. It's kind of like a safety you can hear.
Is that more of a target style release, or?
Some people hunt with them. I would say it's definitely a more target oriented thing. Garrett Armstrong, he uses a resistance. Yeah. He uses a resistance release. Most people hunt with that handheld style, hunt with a thumb. And that's why we have those colors.
My first was at Jay's in Gaylord, Michigan years ago. And I met Garrett there, and we went to lunch with the managers of him and I, and we hit it off really big time, and in fact, he had sent me a tour. I think that was the name of the bow, your tour, yeah. Elite. Yeah, I went, I think it was a couple weeks later, went to Texas and killed a big bison with it, but yeah, I remember, I think he's in Iowa too, right?
Yep, near Des Moines.
So what release do you choose to hunt with?
Right now, I'm actually I've always, like you said, I think we're kind of like older archers at this point. I'm going to be 53 next week, but we all started with, index finger type releases, whether it was Fletcher, the old Scott releases. So I've pretty much been an index finger guy my whole life, I guess you could say. So, but I am shooting the Axis now. So I really, really like the Axis. It's so smooth. Because when you're hunting, there are times when you got to shoot when you want to shoot. Like the deer stopped, you got to kill them right now, and that you can nudge that trigger over, and it's super accurate. Like when you need it to go, it can go. Or if you want to, if you got, an elk at 50 yards in a wallow and just standing there, you can just pull through it sweet. But
Yeah. I like,
I grew up actuating a trigger, so I try to
yeah,
embrace that.
evolve it. You mentioned the old word Fletch Hunter. I mean, the Fletcher, I had the
Yeah,
old Fletch Hunter years ago, the
yeah.
little single handle. Yeah, we went way back. My saying, if it's good enough, for Pete Crawford, it's good enough for me.
Well, and I do shoot
Well,
the Sol. I shoot the Solex a lot too. We have a web connect and a hard connect. It's a single sear release. I don't really like roller sear releases, and a lot of the index fingers are roller sear. They have a lot of travel, and people tend to flick at them or punch them because they're so sensitive. So when you have the
yeah.
sear sign, we have two sears like on a rifle trigger, there is a little resistance. So you can get your finger on it, feel safe, and you can shoot back tension. So the Solex is a single sear release with that diamond coating, 100% made in America. The web connect's $100 retail, and the hard connect's $125. So we're actually
Wow.
less expensive than some imported releases.
That's good. Competitive and it's still giving the quality. That's what we do here at Legendary Gear. I mean, it's always been our motto is that, quality and customer service comes first before
Mhm.
actually total sales, and and you hit it number one. That's what as much as we can keep in house, that means we can control the quality, we control our cycle time. You just take control of your life a lot better instead of, having
Mhm.
to count on other people because that's, back years ago, I was trained by QualPro. It's a consulting firm out of Knoxville, but Tennessee. But when I worked for Ford Motor Company, with quality control and stuff, and one of the things you're always talking about is, you're measuring your manufacturing and how successful and how if you're not and where's your bumps in your process.
Mhm.
And of course, number one is taking variance out of your process. Well, the number one variance is human variance.
Right.
So anytime I can keep outside processes and not worry about their failures and, even if there's still some that we have to rely on outside that, you just have to deal with until someday we get it in house. But I truly understand what you mean by that. So you
Mhm.
mentioned Travis. Travis is your son. Travis
Mhm.
is awesome. When I first came there, he did a great photo shoot for me that went on the Lynch Mob catalog. In fact, it was so funny because he'll tell you the story. We were in a little wet water hole off the parking lot there where we were taking pictures. And this Drake Mallard just kept going by and he was taking pictures. And I just kept calling that Drake Mallard back in, landing in the little puddle pond there. But he took some very cool photos. And the
Yep.
amazing thing, there was really no good backdrop. We were just standing in this. And then when he edited, he put all this backdrop and it was
Mhm.
very talented. And then it ended up, like in saying, being the cover of our catalog, which was really cool. So he's working with you now. So you got a father and son together. What's his position?
Well, we're a small enough company that everybody wears a lot of different hats. He lives in New York, right by the company, so he's there on
Yeah.
daily basis. But he's the head of marketing, and he also you could find him tumbling parts one day,
Yeah.
loading a machine. We kind of all pull together like we we're used to doing. Working as a team. And then like even when I'm there, they sometimes want to throw me out of packaging, but I'll help pack. So um,
And
we're,
the whole process is so important. You have to, that the whole process. He's learning the whole process, and that is important. My
well,
wife, I
yeah,
was just talking to her. When you mentioned that we were talking yesterday that, we need to get a tumbler because some of the stuff that's, we're getting and our inner parts coming in. I said that, instead of having pay what we're doing, we can get a tumbler and let this thing run, we'll just put another process in house.
mhm,
So,
yep. So one of the things that you kind of reminded me of, like when you have a good team or you have a product you're proud of, one of the things that I always has driven me, and I know it does you, because I used some of the calls that you sent to Travis, right? And they were super easy to use. So you made me a better waterfowl hunter, even though I didn't know why, right? There's things your reeds break over here. I don't feel like I'm blowing my eyeballs out or my eardrums. It's just a perfect blend for everyone to be super successful. And we do the same thing at Stan. We're trying to make people better archers, and they don't even know why. They don't know the
right.
care and the effort that went into making that release. They just know it works great. And that's always kind of been my mantra. Let's make the best products to make people more successful and they don't 100% need to know why. I don't know why your call is easier for me to blow. I have no idea, but I do know it's easier. So
Yeah, and it's a lot,
look,
like
look
you
through the
said.
thing. When you're looking out for your customer in that way, you know, and you're designing products around that theme, you almost can't fail.
Right.
People
I
find it.
agree. And is one of our mantras here too. I mean, we constantly tell them, you know, our calls run easy. You know, you can, for the beginner, and like you said, the beginner, he just knows that he can run it better. I've heard guys, like you said, that, hey, my buddy, he really sucked on a duck call, but man, I heard him run a duck call. I didn't know it was him. And you're right. They don't understand how you did that. And they probably wouldn't understand if they explained everything I did to it. And it's the
Right.
same way. And that's what I know with this right here. This is just, it's a Cadillac. You know, if you've never driven a car before and got in and started using this, all cars are like this. And you're right.
Right.
A lot of truth in that.
In our passion and for hunting, it's showing in our hunting releases. And that's, people were buying our products before to hunt with. I mean, you're using an orange one, right? That doesn't matter. But we've got these sage green colors. They're by far our most popular. Like I said, George, we cut a bunch of SKUs. We just made this easy. And I think that's what you do. That's what you're doing in waterfowl. That's what we're doing in archery releases.
That's what I'm saying. That's what, there's a brotherhood. I mentioned that earlier in the podcast. You know, we we're talking about when there's a respect that, you know, the criteria is in what leads our company. And then when you see that in another company they're entrepreneurs, they're digging in and they're not just sitting back like, you know, I'm doing I know every one of these jobs. It's my wife and I, we're Lynch mom. We had several workers. Today we're actually doing better, you know, just her and I, but you know, we manage our time. We know what our goals are. We're very goal oriented. And at the end of the day, like you said, it's all about the customer, because without them, we don't have a business.
Correct.
So, well, Pete, is real quick. I just want to tell you that, or ask you, you shot a big Iowa buck, didn't you? Was it last year or year before last?
Yeah, the year before that. Yeah.
He was a good one, wasn't he?
It was pretty good. I always joke with people, George, that I'll shoot a booner when it's the first one that walks by. Right. I still love bow and arrow, shooting stuff with a bow and arrow. Like, I get excited about shooting does still. Actually, you can, if you watch it on video, like it was on Kyle Weeder's show and a couple others, but like, I'm just happy. So I don't sit there and go, well, that one needs another year. And by the way, in Iowa, I don't get to come back every year. So I'm getting right. And that deer, it did everything a 1.5-year-old deer would do. I should have never been able to kill it. You know, there were some cool things in there. I used OnneX. I think that saved me a bunch. What also saved me was years and years, we didn't have rangefinders. We had to do all that ranging with our eyes, right? And I didn't have time to get to a rangefinder. And I had to be like, that's 40 yards. And, you know, knowing where to shoot an animal, I shoot a slow arrow. Everything just came together. I actually thought I missed it because it whirled. And then I could see the fletch hanging out right where I wanted it. And it tumbled over. There's nothing in bow hunting than shooting the best deer of your life, watching it run 60 yards and go ass over tea kettle. You know, it's like, that is
execute a perfect shot. You're right.
Yeah. So super exciting. It's funny, the day before that, I shot 2 coyotes from the same tree. So
wow.
Yeah, just kind
of holy grail.
Yeah, good spot. But yeah, I love Iowa. It's one of my favorite places to hunt. I don't think I'll draw until next year. I'll have a chance. Maybe get a governor's tag or something again.
There you go. That's the beauty of living here, brother. It's the beauty. I went up, I posted a little thing this morning. We live back in, it's gorgeous, but our internet and, you know, it's secluded, but, you know, we live right off the water. We live right off the refuge. And of course, I got up early this morning, listened to the gobblers going and then the snow geese, I recorded the snow geese were so deafening that it was hard to hear the gobblers. And so it's just, we love it. You know, it's a way of life. And, you know, I have cameras out all over and I start to know the bucks and because I do live here, you can kind of watch them grow and try to, you know, it's a great way of life. Well, tell you what, Pete, I appreciate your time that you spent with us. And I see that you changed your website. So it's stanoutdoors.com. Am I correct?
Yep.
All right.
Travis did all that too.
Oh, dude, I was just telling my wife, I said, man, they got an awesome website. And so standoutdoors.com, folks. I'm telling you what, anybody that's looking at serious, you bow hunters out there, like I said, I was a traditional guy. I shot the index, and I didn't think the release was all that big a thing to me. But the older you get, or the more that you shoot, you start and getting good. You understand it's like running a call. There's some guys that get a fantastic call. A good caller tells the difference. The guy be just beginning, like you said, doesn't know the difference. It's just, the call runs. And that's what with this stand release, it helped me become a better shooter. I'm pulling through my shots. But the guys, you bow hunters, what I'm telling you is it helped me on my shot placement on animals. I had, I was more in control, and which was awesome. So if you get a chance, folks, check out their website. And if you like this podcast, please subscribe to it. It's George Lynch, or it's Legendary Gear with George Lynch. You can go to our website, legendarygearusa.com. You can check out our podcast through there. Pete, I enjoy you. I appreciate it. God bless, buddy. And you're in Texas now. God bless Texas. All right. Well, folks, take care and stay tuned in for next week. Until then, hunt safe, hunt smart, and may the good Lord be your guide.
Thanks, George.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it so much, man.
Well, I'll be out there, rain or shining, all a part of the great design. Bring it on, I can never get enough, because that's what legends are made of.